Sometimes you got to pull that ski mask down and get what you need.
But let me just say this for the sake of everything. If I blink out, it's not you, it's me, it's the computer. Something's wrong with the aspects of charging. I could have it plugged in like it is now, and it won't see that it's plugged in. So if I pink out, it's not you. It's
Cool.
just probably my
The
end.
good news is if it does pink out, we can pick back up and
Yeah.
we'll just keep recording. But anyway, since we're on the topic of video games, you and I both saw Mario this past weekend, or I think you saw it in the middle of the week when it first came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
We saw it bright and early Saturday morning, much to Al's chagrin, being Mr. Late, despite being a Boy Scout. I don't think he got the badge for punctuality. But anyway, next time I'm going to tell him, well, the movie's not at 10:30. It was at 10:30. But next time I'll be like, it's at 8:30. That way he gets here right on time. I got to start seeing things as Allen time. But anyways, we saw it. The only thing I'm really going to say, because I'm not a spoiler heavy person, if you saw Super Mario Brothers 1993, this was definitely the movie that we deserved then, but didn't get then, and it's definitely on par. I do have some quibbles with it, but otherwise, it's a great new interpretation for the character.
Yes, I'm pulling up my my notes in regards to it. What? Where the heck did I put my notes? What the hell is it, man? That's J4, but yes, I didn't put it in the subject. That's why I loved every aspect of it. There's so many. To kind of quote, uh, not how it should the cartoon series, how it should have ended. They did something. I was like in regards to Superhero Cafe, and they had like Mario on it. They're like, in the American characters, like, yeah, they're going to be making top 10 Easter egg lists for years to come in regards to this. And yeah, I can see it. I even did notes in regards to everything.
It
They
was nice
included,
to see a Discoon reference, which was for the Famicom Disk System,
yeah,
because there's like a computer shop, and you can see it pretty well when Bowser lands in Brooklyn. Not spoiling anything, but when he gets to Brooklyn, one of the stores to the right, I guess it's a computer repair shop that's called Discoon and has the little mascot for Discoon. And that excited me because it was
yeah.
a random oddity that few people knew about.
I loved all the Easter eggs in it, from including the, in essence, the theme song from the 80, late mid 80s, late early 90s, live action with late Captain Lou Albano. Um,
I think the guy who played Luigi might still be with us, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I thought he passed away years ago, but I like you, I could be wrong. But there were so many ins and outs. It was good to hear Charles, the actual voice of Mario, have a brief little cameo. From what I hear, he
I
did a
like
cameo.
in the pizza shop,
Yeah,
they
that's where
had
you
they had like
had
Jumpman, the
right.
actual game, but then they all, which was Donkey Kong, FYI. But there was actually a representation of how they drew Jumpman, the more heavier set looking and
Right.
Italian guy with the red hat and the blue
Yeah.
coveralls and
And
whatnot.
you had that was, I think that was the person that, it's like, wait a minute, that's Charles. That's, the
Hmm.
actual person that goes woohoo, and that whole aspect. Um the my biggest gripe is that they got Seth Rogen to voice Donkey Kong. I think Seth is very overrated. He's he's kind of lost it over the years. It's like, no, they could have gotten
Jack Black
somebody
was
else.
perfect. I
Jack Black was. I'll give Jack Black credit for that.
oh, what's his
But
name? Armenian who played Cranky Kong, perfect, spot on.
yeah,
Um, but my whole thing was getting into the whole Donkey Kong country stuff. Like, couldn't you guys have waited for that? There was way too many crossovers, like from other Nintendo properties, which I'm like, yeah, get some representation so we can build to a Smash Brothers movie later. But keep them separated. Don't make them part of the central plot. I didn't think Donkey Kong was necessary for that unless we were going to do a straight up Mario Brothers movie that was just
I
called
guess
Donkey
if
Kong.
they, it's one of those instances where if they didn't include Donkey Kong, people would have been pissed, totally pissed, because in a way, before he was Mario Brothers, he was part of Donkey Kong.
Right, but it could have been like a cameo. You know what I mean?
True.
Or like a hint that yes, we have included the character because there's that whole scene where Princess Peach, well, there's a huge galaxy out there, and then we could see some other alternate world later as a cameo and different like aspects. Um,
Now here's the great thing. It's like if they really want to go full tilt to it, oh yes, there's a whole galaxy out there. Yeah, what a great way to bring in the whole galaxy and do a team up with Nintendo. Go. I hope you see where I'm going with this.
mhm,
Captain N.
yeah,
Do a Captain N aspect.
what
He's just. You don't have to do an intro of him going into that whole realm. Just have him there.
but the problem with Captain N is, and here's where this comes into play. Keep in mind that Captain N, the cartoon series, focused on a lot of third-party games that were not owned by Nintendo. They were officially licensed. Like Mega Man in the cartoon showed up. That's Capcom. There is a Mega Man movie coming. There is Simon Belmont, one of his worst representations ever in animation, but he was in Captain N.
But
By
they could still
Billy.
bring Captain N in and still use the whole aspect of not really a like in the Mario movie. He was playing Kid Icarus and all that, and they had all the posters on the wall for Mario of the other NES games. They could just have Captain N just like, yeah, I've been on the these weird things that like I had a friend that was Kid Icarus or something like that, whatever the character's name is. Like, yeah, I had a friend
Right,
like
but
that.
my problem is because I want to say, because wasn't that I always love to say their name, a Deke a Deke property, and also owned by Valiant Comics. And Valiant is owned by so many different parties now. Like Valiant's back, but there's so many third parties that were involved with Valiant. And then you have the cartoon, like the Studio Deke. A lot of its big things were picked up by Cookie Jar and a couple other third party companies. But the thing of it is like with Nintendo licensing involved, Capcom involved, it's going to be
Well,
a whole rights issue.
wasn't the whole Super Mario Super Show done by Dick?
Yes, but keep
But
in
they got the
mind,
music from that, so
that it only focused on Nintendo properties, so
right.
they can do that because it was a song based on a Nintendo property that Deke had to license. It's one of those weird things about licensing. You can get and license an IP, but anything you create for that IP isn't exactly yours. It will revert back to the original license holders after a certain period of time. It's legally gray. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
but
complicated
I,
and it's going to cost
for until I
money.
watched a video in regards to some of the Easter eggs, I thought the spy character and the dog character that was in it, like the wrecking crew,
Like, yeah.
uh, and the dog that you see when they're trying to repair that high end house.
Mm-hmm.
I thought until I saw that video, I thought it was a jab at Disney. I didn't think it was an Easter egg. I just thought it was a jab at Disney, kind of like what DreamWorks did with Disney and Shrek. Because like, oh, they're trying to parody Wreck-It Ralph because here's somebody that hates Mario and he's going by Wreck, Wreck-It Crew or whatever it is. So I
Yeah.
thought it was that. I wasn't really thinking that it was another Nintendo reference.
Yeah, it's
So
another Mario game. It was very different. If
and
you
I
never
I just
played
thought
it,
the dog looked like the dog from Up. And like, yeah, they're making a parody. That was my first thought. They're making a parody of Disney, or they're making a kind of a jab at Disney in regards to it. So I'm like, they're taking a jab at them. So
and it was nice to see Sniffets and Shy Guys, but like there's some characters in the Nintendo roster that I think have been neglected for years. Now, granted, I get Doki Doki Panic as its own separate thing from Super
Right.
Mario 2, but where's the Wart love? Has Wart appeared in anything since Doki Doki Panic slash Super Mario Brothers 2?
I don't think I'll say this. Outside of Shy Guys and maybe Mauser. Mauser was
Mhm.
in the cartoon, if I remember correctly. But outside of, let's say, if you want to go with the stretch, Mauser and Shy Guys, nothing past that, and
Yeah.
maybe the tiered cactus appeared, and I think was not just Doki Doki Panic, Super Mario 2. I think they were also made an appearance in Mario 3.
Yeah. And also Super Mario World.
I haven't really played Super Mario. Oh yeah, World was the SNES,
Yes.
but for the most part, other than a few characters, I don't think anything past that. We might be able to see if the way things are looking now. I think they made close to, if not more than 300 million worldwide. So good chance there's a sequel. And from what Chris Pratt was saying is that they were trying to be very respectful of the franchise and everything else. So there might be more different aspects. So we might see war. We might see um, a more of the Doki Doki Panic or Super Mario 2 aspects. Um, they had this wasn't like a John Wick 4 where it's close to 3 hours long. This was only a 90
Hour
minute
and a half.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it had two end credits, so they could only cram so much into it. Um, Everybody from what I've been seeing has been enjoying it, for the exception of a lot of critics. For whatever reason, they were.
Because it's a
Uh,
kids movie
it's
and,
a kids movie.
it's for the
It's either
fans.
it's for the kids, and it's more so for the fans of all ages. Our time to now, Mario's one thing that our generation and even the younger generation all relate to. Um, and some people right now are saying that the Mario movie, the way it's doing right now, is going to be hurting Disney big time, because more kids now are relating to Mario than they will something that Disney puts out.
Yep. And that's just how it goes. I personally, like I said, I enjoyed it for what it was, despite getting drugged down to see it at like 10:30 in the morning. But it was a blast. And like Warehouse Cinemas there in Leitersburg Pike in Hagerstown, kind of like the offshoot of Hagerstown off of Moggins Avenue. But it was a good film. I enjoyed it. I had
Yeah,
another good
I,
experience at Warehouse. Now they're fully upgraded, so I retract all of the negative things I said when I went to No Way Home. But personally, my opinion is they should not have opened in that state. They should have waited until the complete conversion
but
and remodeling was done.
overall, one of the things I liked in the movie is that they went with the trope. It's a comedic trope. I'm happy that they went to it. It was like you have that one minion um, that always asks a good question, and you have in this case you had that one. I think it was a Cooper Trooper. It's like, yeah, what if they don't? What if she says no? And Bowser's like, freezes the guy or burns the guy down,
Turns in
burns him down. And he's like, "Yeah, that's a very good question." You know, that's
Jack Black
always
did good. Jack
that's
Black
always been that type of trope has always been funny, especially when it's done well. One of the earliest ones I can know is like it was a film that I think it was done in like the UK. It was like an CGI similar to this. It was in the days of like Ant Bully or something like that. Forgot what it's called. Uh, uh, what's his name was not Bon Jovi. He was in Labyrinth. He played Jareth.
David Bowie.
David Bowie. He played in essence, voiced the bad guy in that. And the kid here is like, yeah, can I have the last question? Ask you a question, and he's like, I'll allow it. And everybody's like looking at him like, yeah, he's an evil guy. He's like stroking his kid's like, Your Highness, sir, I know you got to be an evil, being polite. He's like, I'll allow it. Just that trope of, yeah, I'm gonna hurt you, but you're being polite. I like how you do think. That sort of trope, and it's nice to see it, especially when it's written well and done well, and the joke is executed well. So,
But no, it was good. I liked it. If you get a chance to see it, go see it. Um, if you're scared of going to a cinema full of kids, don't be, because there was a lot of adults there that weren't with kids. So by all means, check it out.
so.
But anyways, since you are from the